Hey everybody, welcome to this week's edition of The Chat. I'm Sue Stewart along with Pat LaRose and our great sponsors with Riverside Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram on Vincent Massey Drive. Pat LaRose, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm upstairs.
You're
Nobody's home.
upstairs. New scenery. I need to get a new scenery here. It's always the same two pictures in my background. I got to do something about it.
Well, nobody's in the house today, so I thought now's a good time to resurface. It's freezing in the basement. I'm one of those ones that are constantly with slippers, sweater, the whole bit, uncomfortable, so everybody else in the main level.
Oh my God.
Hey,
That's funny.
I want to bring up, it's the elephant in Canada right now. Do you not feel almost like our country is in a bad boy relationship with the prime minister? Like he just keeps doing things wrong and we just keep going, okay, he said he was sorry. I'll stay in this relationship.
Yeah,
It's difficult. Having a hard time right now with this.
yeah, I think I don't know what it is. Well, with him and with all these things that keep coming out, and then I feel like I've been spending, I don't want to say a lot of time on TikTok, but even on TikTok, it's more of the American stuff, but there's all these conspiracy theories coming out saying that celebrities are being kidnapped and forced to do things against their will. And then all this Jeffrey Epstein stuff with the child trafficking. Like, I feel like we're in a twilight zone. Like, this is insane.
It's one thing after the next. If The Handmaid's Tale starts getting warranted into this scene, I'm out. I gotta go. I've already got the
Oh,
partial most of the time, but it doesn't feel like real life from one day to the next. What is happening in this world? But in another sense, you have to try and keep your crap together inside, bottle it up, your emotions, because your kids are watching thinking, is our world ending? What is happening? I don't understand. None of us do, really. None of us do. And you and I were talking about the next phase. Premier Doug Ford announced phase 3 that not everybody in our province is going through right now, like Toronto's still behind, but we're getting an opportunity to hopefully get it right, because that's the biggest part. We'll get to the next phase. These things will open up and hopefully people will still stick with the guidelines that are in place and not go, oh, well, it's over. It's not over, not yet.
yeah. And it's exciting that we're taking that next step. But again, people still need to be cautious and they still need to follow the rules and regulations, if you will, that are put in place to keep things low. And I think that, when you talk about phase 3 and you talk about wearing a mask and everything that's happening, people get upset and think, well, our area isn't one of the problem areas. Okay, so is that a reason why we shouldn't be doing those things? Because maybe all of the things that we've been practicing have helped us be in that position. So I think people need to still be cautious, right, of what's happening and still following what's
Yeah.
being asked of us. But yeah,
It's simple stuff. It really is simple stuff that they have to do. The idea of wearing the mask in and out, for the people that are working in the stores, it's a bit tough. Like I've had it where I've worked at the store on a Saturday and had to keep it on the whole time. I struggled with it a little bit. Once in a while, I'd have to go in the back and take a breather. But for people just going in and out of stores, it's really not that much time that you're in there for. So keeping your 6 feet as well. I find people with masks, I'm finding them that they're still navigating towards each other thinking, well, I'm wearing a mask so I can buddy up. It's like, no, what is it now? We still have that 10-person bubble, but it's opened up for different places now, inside and out, right?
right. So yeah, so stage 3, as far as we've been made aware, is that it allows 50 people, a max of 50 people in an indoor facility and 100 for outdoor, but still with physical distancing, social distancing in place. But I didn't want to say, because there's some things that you still can't do, that still aren't opening. So you're saying the following businesses and amenities are not permitted to reopen right now, and that's amusement parks and water parks, buffet style food services, dancing at restaurants and bars, overnight stays at camps for children, private karaoke rooms, prolonged or deliberate contact while playing sports, saunas, steam rooms, bathhouses, and oxygen bars, table games at casinos and gaming establishments. So there still are some businesses that are obviously, still in the situation where they can't open.
Did you say private karaoke rooms?
It actually says private karaoke rooms. So I don't know if there's like an underground karaoke parties that happen in Cornwall, but maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what it is.
Think about it. You can't share a mic with somebody. Like that's all what it's about. Have ever been side stage at anybody performing? The amount of spit that comes out of their mouth is just like constant. So no, even if it
Yeah.
does open up, I don't think I'm ever going to go to a private karaoke.
No, but the exciting part is that restaurants can now be able to
Yeah.
dine indoors, which is nice because I was out with some friends on Friday night at Esca, and when it got later into the night, we were talking about where else can we go? There really was nowhere else to go, and it rained a little bit, so everybody huddled under, like, well, I shouldn't say everybody. There were only us and another table left, but we physical distance, but under their gazebo. But you couldn't go inside, right? They're not allowed to let us inside. But now on July 17th, which I believe is this Friday, that's when they can start letting people inside. Now it's not full capacity, but it's great news for like gyms that can now reopen, the restaurants. So this is good. We should start, getting back to some sort of a normal.
And it's probably going to be tough no matter what the gyms can, any business really, but I'm thinking gyms most specifically, because they've not been running. It's going to be a learning curve for them to watch how people are reacting, watch how people are following the rules. So I imagine it's not just going to be that turnkey operation. We go in, everything's going. I'm thinking about people like Tom and the Christophs and Jason over at Summit. I'm thinking about the amount of work and patience they're going to have, and the clients are going to have while people get used to how it goes. Because I think it's been a while since I've been to the gym, but most people, they do their sets. They'll do one machine or one set here, then they go over, do another set, then come back. So they've got their setups. I imagine that's probably not going to happen like that. It's like you do this machine, then we delouse it for the most part, and then you can go touch something else.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they do that, especially for some gyms that do CrossFit style workouts where like you said, some gyms you're going to do your set, you're going to do your bench press or whatever it is, and then when you're done that, then you're going to go do another one. But some of these exercises where you're doing like AMRAPs and you're jumping from one exercise to the next as quickly as possible. So how are you going to do that? That's going to be very difficult. So the whole way we work out, I think, is going to change for the time being, because I'm sure things are going to be spaced out more than they were. You're going to be taped off into your little area. You're going to have to clean everything, like you said, before and after you're done working out. Like your whole workout process is going to change. But in saying that, it is good news, and people just need to be patient. They need to abide by the rules, and whether you agree or disagree with it, it's that business that's going to be in trouble if you're not following the rules. It's that business that's going to have to sacrifice. So and it goes in.
There's still so many gray areas though with that, because we've had people come in the store and some will not wear a mask. It's up to them, I guess. It's mandatory, but at the same time, nobody's really putting the rules set in stone. There's no fines being handed out at this point in time. And we're not allowed to ask them why they're not going to wear a mask. That's the other thing. So we've had other customers that come in and said, you're going to get in trouble for that. And I said, I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble as an owner or if they're going to get in trouble as an individual, but I'm not allowed to ask them why they're not wearing one. It's like, there's just so many weird, it's just so confusing.
It is gray, and I don't want to say that. I get it. It is a little bit unfair the way that they've released the information for the businesses, because you're right. If somebody says, I have a condition, I can't wear it, you can't ask for proof that they have a condition. You just have to trust what they're saying. And now it's up to you to enforce that. Well, how are you going to enforce that? Again, you're not going to ask people for proof that they have a condition, nor really can you. But no. I'll say this, this whole announcement about mandatory masks has created a big division between two types of people. And you have the ones that understand the circumstance we're in and don't mind wearing a mask whenever they go in to a grocery store or a retail store or wherever they're going, a public place to for that short period of time. And then you have the other ones where it's like all hell has broken loose and you're it's against their rights and whatever, and they just refuse to wear it. And whether you agree or disagree, just put on the mask. There's all these people saying that it doesn't really help. Well, it's more to prevent you spreading it to somebody else if you have it, right? And sure, there's still the precautions you have to have, washing your hands and watching what you're touching and where you're touching on your face and stuff. But is it really that big of a deal if you don't have a condition to put on a mask for the 30 to 40 minutes that you're going into a store?
Look at that. We had talked about this before. In Texas, they were having COVID parties. There'd be a couple people infected in the party, and they'd see who would get it. The one young man that did actually die, and literally on his deathbed said, "I really just thought this whole thing was a hoax." He's dead. Like, they went to a party to try and get it, to prove that, no, there's nothing wrong with this. And then, of course, the newscast said, well, he had underlying issues. Who cares? He got it, whatever the underlying issues are. Did that make it acceptable that he died from it? Oh, well, he had an issue.
Yeah.
It's a real thing, and we're just trying to keep it under control. So hopefully, again, with everything opening up as it is, that people still continue to follow it as it's supposed to be, I hope.
Yeah.
Even Donald Trump is wearing a mask now. Did you notice?
Yes, I just see that photo. But even just to this point, like, people have to understand, it's not the businesses making this rule. It's the Eastern Ontario Health Unit that's put this mandate on local businesses. And I get frustrated because I hear from, other local business owners about the situations that have happened when this rule came into place, about how some customers are very difficult and rude because they don't want to wear the mask. Well, it's not the business putting in this mandatory rule. It's Eastern Ontario Health Unit putting in for all of our protection. So if you're listening to this, don't take it out on the business owners. They're just abiding by the rules like everyone else is, right? So it's just, it's really upsetting, especially when you see some of the comments on social media, just people, again, whether you agree or disagree, is it that big of a deal? If you don't have a condition to put on a mask for a short period of time while you're doing your groceries, or you're out clothing shopping, or walking into the restaurant, or having to go to the bathroom at the restaurant, it's really not.
Sometimes misery loves company, though. Some people just like to complain, and this is the new thing to complain about right now. And you know what the biggest solution to that is? Stay home.
Well, there it is. Yeah. And it's not like if you get upset because you're going to one store because you have to wear a mask. Yes, you can threaten to go to a competitor, but that competitor is going to have the same rule. So it really doesn't matter. Everyone is following the same rules, and if they don't, then they could, be in trouble.
I had an experience yesterday that actually was, to me, it was humorous, and I felt bad because I was giggling under my mask about it. But I went to Dr. Navidal, so I had to get some work done, and it's been put off for months and months and months. Nothing major, just anyway. And when I walked in, like she tells you, my appointment was at 1:15, you'd be there at 10 after, and then you walk between the two doors, you put on a mask, you sanitize, then you go over to the wall where there's an electronic screen, and you stand there to have your forehead line up. It takes your temperature, and then somebody says, okay, you can come in now. I'm like, oh, this is real.
Oh, really?
It was really neat. Like, I want that at my house. Go between the doors, wait to be told what to do. We'll take your temperature. But yeah, I went in, and everybody was in their suits. There was only one girl that came out that literally had like a hazmat suit on. I don't know which department she was working in or what procedure she was doing, but it flowed very well. As I went in to be seated, there was plastic over the doors on either side, so that what was in the room was in the room. It was just very neat. It was an experience, and I felt extremely comfortable, but I just kept laughing again, going back to, what movie title is this now? I don't know where I am.
Oh my God. It's funny. I saw, thinking about this, just thinking about how long time has passed. I saw a tweet somebody put out, and it said, remember the Tiger King phase of the pandemic? That feels like it was a year ago. It feels like it was a year ago, but it wasn't. It was just a couple months ago, but it just shows you how long this feels, right?
I actually wanted to make a meme the other day involving my father. I was out working at the store, and I just happened to go outside to get a breath of fresh air, take my mask off, and sit on the park bench out front and watch traffic for a bit. And sure enough, my dad pulls up. He gets out of his car, and he goes over, and he gets out of his pocket, and he's putting it on. I'm thinking, this man still complains about a rule that came into effect in Ontario in 1976, he has to wear a seatbelt, and he's still putting on a mask to go into my store.
Oh my God.
1976, by the way. I don't know that off the top of my head, but those were the thoughts going through my mind when I'm like, Dad's into it. Why can't the rest of you be?
Right.
I think there's a garbage truck or something going by that my dog needs to let me know about.
Keeping you informed.
He's keeping me informed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Going back to Tiger King, do you mind if I veer off for a second? Because I know there's a new show I really want to tell you about, and I don't think you're watching it yet. My best friend Tracy told me about it. You've watched Bad Blood, right?
No.
Okay. Well, watch that one first. Bad Blood is based out of it's a mafia cartel in Montreal, based kind of on a true story. And actually, one of the scenes, it says Cornwall, Ontario, that he came to visit somebody, but it's actually Somerstown, Marina. You could tell when you're from here, you know that's not Cornwall,
Yeah,
that's
right.
Somerstown. What are they talking? But that's actually a very good one. Have you watched Ozark?
We've watched a couple episodes of the first season, and then we just never got back into it.
Ozark is kind of dark, but as it gets going on, it's pretty interesting, and you binge watch it. But right now we're watching Queen of the South, and I don't know why I'm into all these cartel and mafia shows, but I find it very interesting and very strong women out there leading the way. But Luke and I can't stop. Like when he comes home from work and it's, we've had dinner at 8:00, it's like, I've got enough energy in me for one episode. Let's go. So that's
Right.
one I just suggest to you that is really good. And there's 3 seasons, which I think all have about 13 episodes. So if you're looking for one of those that you can watch for a little while, because there's nothing worse. You get into one season of something, there's 4 episodes, and it's like, they're not making anything anymore. I'm done.
Yeah. If you like that, then you might like Narcos. Have you
Narcos.
watched that?
I think Luke has watched that.
Yeah, so they did the first 2 seasons were with Pablo Escobar, and then there was a 3rd season of another Colombian cartel, and then I've been really into the last 2 seasons, which are Narcos Mexico, which are really good. So if you like that, then you might like those.
I've actually, when Luke's not here, because if you watch a show with your partner, you can't sneak ahead, because then you're gonna have to just rewatch it anyway and try to act surprised at what happens. So
Right.
I always look for something else. And the other night on Netflix, they put back Unsolved Mysteries. I used to
Yes.
love that as a kid with, I forget the name of the host, Bill something. Bill Carroll? No, that's a CFRA guy. Anyway, Bill Curtis. He hosted that, and I loved it as a kid. But now as an adult, I'm like, there's no ending. It's still unsolved. Now I'm going to go to bed thinking I should help with this case.
Oh my God.
I love the detective shows though, but I like a wrap up at the end. I want to know what's going on.
Yeah. You want to know that it's been solved, right?
All right. So I veered off a little bit. Thank you for letting me do that, because I'm just excited about this new show, and I've got to wait tonight to watch another episode. But we were talking about restaurants and stuff locally. Can you get me up to speed with what's happening with Ribfest?
So yes, so the last update we got very recently was that City Council now has approved the request for Ribfest, but I don't know how that will change how things have already been planned. So from the 20th to the 25th, I believe, local restaurants will be doing a Ribfest community cookout. I believe that's what they're calling it. So, and that could be ribs, could be chicken, it could be different items. It's not just specifically ribs, but I believe there was about 17 restaurants that will be offering something for this Ribfest community cookout. And then I believe 3 of the ribbers that were here last summer will be setting up at the Civic Complex parking lot. I don't know. There may be more with the news that was announced last night. We'll have to wait and find out. But it's great news for the local restaurants that now they get to participate and hopefully generate some business from it. And it's also great news for the Optimist Club, because I believe all the restaurants will be giving some sort of a donation from the proceeds from this cookout, and then the 3 ribbers that come here, the Optimist, I believe, will make something from that as well. So it's not going to be as significant as it was in previous years, but it's great for them, and it's great for the community that this can still happen.
Again, communities everywhere are deprived of just getting out and being social or experiencing something. Life is about experiences, and if you're just going to sit at home and hit rewind and watch Unsolved Mysteries or Friends over and over again, it can get depressing. As much as Chandler can have, you got to get out something. And I think this is obviously going to be our first real kick at the can here in town, right?
Well, this is going to be the test, right? Because obviously, with the restaurants being allowed to have up to 50 people while social distancing inside the restaurant, starting on Friday, that means all that week while they're doing this Ribfest community cookout, people can be dining inside the restaurant as well as on the patio, weather permitting, which is great. But even when the ribbers are here at the complex parking lot, there still needs to be social distancing. So, and it's going to be hard to police it if there's a lot of people. So hopefully, you know, the community was common sense. If you're going to enjoy the ribs anywhere, just make sure you're social distancing, make sure you're taking proper precautions, and then I'm sure the organizers will do a great job at trying to control it as well.
You know what I just pictured? The inside of my mask after I get home. Gross.
I'd like to see that. Yeah, so that's good news, and you know, it's great. So we're seeing that, and you know, Taste Tour Burger Edition is coming up in August as well. So that's great. And now phase 3 is here, so that's even better. So there are some things that are going to continue to happen, or will happen in you know, maybe a more reduced fashion than we've seen in the past, but we can still experience it just in a different way.
The new way.
The new way. Yeah, this might be the new way for a while, I think.
There, you can put that into a hashtag somewhere. The new way.
The new way.
The new way. Is there anything else we want to touch on before we just you and I this week? We may have a guest on next week. Who knows? Yeah.
No, I think that was the biggest things, right? Obviously, the big news of wearing a mask, you know, created a lot of controversy and then really created some division between people. And I think we just need to be smart about it. And again, it's more to protect other people. So just be a good human being and you know, try and help others by wearing your mask. And then stage 3, you know, 50 people max inside, 100 people outside while social distancing. And then the good news about Ribfest. So that's what's happening now. And hopefully we get more good news as, you know, time progresses.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Pat. And again, we want to say a special thank you to our sponsor, Riverside Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram on Vincent Massey Drive, still open for business. And Pat, do you have an update on them at all? They're I would assume, again, with businesses opening up the way they are, that people are allowed to roam.
Right. Yeah. So they might get back to some form of normal there too. I mean, obviously they're business as usual for the most part. I believe you can still make appointments if you prefer that, or you know, consulting with somebody virtually or over the phone, as well as their website, riversidechrysler.ca. And then you can always connect with them on social media, Facebook and Instagram, Riverside Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Pat. As always, it's been a pleasure. And
yes.
maybe we can change up your zoning next time. You can get into
yeah. Maybe I'll do it on location at Ribfest.
Oh,
hey, maybe we should do that. Yeah.
All right. For this week's edition of The Chat, I'm Sue Stewart along with Pat LaRose. Have a great week.
Thanks.